Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Goeiemôre, dames and here. Molweni, maneni, namaneni, kazi. Welcome to the 2021 summer graduation season of Nelson Mandela University. Over these 2 days, we will celebrate the graduation of 171 master's and doctoral students in what is our first in-person graduation ceremony since the global coronavirus pandemic began for us in March 2020. This alone is reason to celebrate. However, as you will appreciate, we have to celebrate within COVID-19 compliance protocols, which is why we are socially distanced, wearing our masks, and have limited our numbers and spread these two ceremonies over 2 days. Apart from adhering to the COVID-19 protocols you heard earlier, please could we request the following: that the audience please rise when the academic procession enters the hall and remain standing till after the moment of silence, and again at the end of the ceremony after the singing of the national anthem as the academic procession leaves the hall. That you please ensure that your cell phones are on silent, but please do tweet using the hashtag MandelaGrad and tell your family and friends that this event is being live streamed. That you also do not leave the hall during proceedings out of respect for all our postgraduates and their families who have worked very hard to achieve their qualifications. That you wear a mask throughout the ceremony. Your safety is our priority, so please comply with this and all other prevention measures. Should you need the bathroom, please head for the back of the hall where the ushers will guide you. Please note, in the event of a power failure, we have a standby generator, which will start within a few minutes. We trust that you will enjoy the ceremony, and a hearty word of congratulations to each and every graduate here today on your special day. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated.
By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, I hereby constitute this congregation for the purpose of awarding qualifications. Chairperson of Council, Ambassador Nozipho January Badal, members of Council, Vice Chancellor Professor Sibongile Mutwa, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Executive Deans of Faculty, Dean of Students, the Professoriate, members of the Academy, and university staff members, President and members of the Student Representative Council, alumni, members of the media, university partners and stakeholders from government, the faith sector, civil society, communities and business, and most importantly, graduates and your families and friends. Change the world, that is our rallying cry as the Nelson Mandela University. And that cry has never been more important and appropriate than this moment in history. It is what we call on our staff to do each day at work. It is what we call on students to do during the course of their studies and beyond, when they graduate successfully from the university. And indeed, as we will see from the incredible array of research that has been conducted and new knowledge that has been created in the fulfillment of the master's and doctoral degrees being conferred today, each of you have set yourselves on a path to change the world. In doing so, you are emulating the path of Charlotte Magomo Makeke, who was born 150 years ago in the Eastern Cape in Blinkwater near Fort Beaufort. She was the first Black South African woman to graduate with a degree, a Bachelor of Science, in 1903 from Wilberforce University in the United States. She was unbounded, a pioneering leader who was passionate about inclusivity and education. She was tireless in mobilizing women. She was known for a keen interest in youth, and in particular, as it related to women, to take their equal place in society and grasp every opportunity to change the world. This is what each of you are doing too. The world around us in 2021 has been tumultuous. We are still grappling with the COVID pandemic, and its devastating impact on lives and livelihoods. Whilst its pervasive global presence has brought us together as one world, it has also rent us apart. It has seen the best of scientists intently pursuing new knowledge about the virus, while healthcare and community workers have selflessly cared for those affected without a second thought to the risk to themselves. It has, however, also brought deeper inequalities in an already unequal world. It was described as serving as an X-ray on all the inequalities and injustices in the world. We need to continue to unite and pursue unity of purpose to defeat and overcome the pandemic and to rebuild in unison. Now, more than any other time, solidarity is of the essence. It's not the time to shut down borders. It's not the time to shut out people. 2021 has seen global leaders and activists grappling and engaging during the United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties, COP26, to piece together the Glasgow Climate Pact, to lock in commitments to change human patterns, to safeguard the ecology of the planet for future generations. The world continues to grapple with leadership challenges and economic shrinking, which sees thousands of migrants in motion across the globe, fleeing conflict, personal insecurity, and hunger, seeking shelter elsewhere. The International 16-Day of Activism for No Violence Against Women and Children campaign, which takes place annually from 25 November, International Day of No Violence Against Women, to 10 December, International Human Rights Day, has once again brought into sharp and painful relief the devastating rot on the lives of women and children and other vulnerable members of society. The abuse, the injuring, the rape, femicide, and murders must stop. We cannot rest until we have collectively changed the world so that women and children no longer need to be in fear of their lives. We need to claim back the streets. We need to claim back the homes. We need to claim the day and the night. Throughout this global turmoil and tumultuousness, you, our graduates, have remained tenacious. You have toiled, and you have triumphed. In reflecting on your remarkable achievements, I'm reminded of the words of a great revolutionary, Thomas Sankara, who at the age of 33 became the Prime Minister of the then newly named West African country, Burkina Faso, meaning the land of honest men. He said, and I quote, "Everything that you can imagine, you are capable of creating," close quotes. Indeed, your achievements as masters and doctoral graduates demonstrate exactly this. While as a country, we were holding our sixth local government elections, to vote for councils for all districts, metropolitan, and local municipalities in each of the country's 9 provinces. At our own university, our students voted in an online elections to choose the Student Representative Council that will lead students in 2022. I congratulate the students for a well-run, tightly contested, but democratic and fully digital process, which saw participation increase to 39% from 22% when voting was conducted manually. That's just okay, not good enough. And I've not heard that there's a coalition SRC as yet. But then again, we don't know what the future holds, do we? I congratulate our students for demonstrating the doability of free and fair elections using digital technology. I trust the leadership will be exemplary during their term of office and deliver on the needs of the student body. As Nelson Mandela University, we were able to formally launch the medical school this year, the 10th in the country, and we were extremely proud to welcome our inaugural cohort of 50 first-year students at the beginning of the year 2021. But we held off the public launch due to the prevailing health restrictions. We thank all the role players, government, regulatory, research and science councils, business, donors and communities who have unstintingly supported and walked with us. We regard the medical school as a catalyst for an integrated development node in Mission Vale, an impoverished part of a city. We see it as being a beacon to the kids and future generations there. And we also see it as a reminder to our own Professor Pepeta, who was part of ensuring that we could launch this 10th medical school. To us, it offers the kernel of an educational and innovation precinct which can drive fundamental change and growth in that part of Nelson Mandela Bay. We have continued with our infrastructure development program on our campuses. The realities of the pandemic have taught us new methodologies as much as our learning and teaching had to migrate online when circumstances prevented students and staff from being physically present on campus. We envisage that a blended learning environment will remain into the future. And so we are investing in smart digital teaching spaces to enable this. We are ensuring strong and secure e-platforms to support this and to also offer effective remote working capabilities for the staff. For those of you who have traveled to campus for this graduation ceremony, you may perhaps have noticed the student housing units under construction. We regard this expanding ecosystem as the core for creating a vibrant, connected, safe, and secure living and learning environment for our students. Last month, 500 beds were successfully completed and handed over, of an overall total of 2,000 beds. We are also sharply focused on continuously expanding the environmental sustainability of our campuses. The water scarcity due to the ongoing drought in Nelson Mandela Bay has seen us introducing consumption management strategies and alternatives such as water storage tanks. On the other end of the spectrum, the recent cloudburst and resultant flooding in George has seen the washing away of the access road infrastructure to the campus. We are looking at ways to reconstruct the lost and damaged infrastructure. As an engaged university, we have deliberately positioned ourselves to be in the service of society. At the center of this is our determination to be outward-facing and to focus our research and innovation to seeking solutions to real-world problems. I wish to acknowledge and thank the professoriate and members of the Academy for guiding the research work undertaken by each of you during your studies. Each thesis makes an invaluable contribution to bringing about change in the lives of others. And we saw this yesterday as well in the thesis that had been accepted as part of the work done. In reading through your research topics, I'm reminded of one of our honorary doctorate recipients, Dr. Vuyokazi Mahlati, who sadly and unexpectedly passed away in 2020. In remembering her extensive contribution as a social entrepreneur, gender activist, and rural economies policy advocate, amongst her many accomplishments, Dr. Anna Mohokong, the Chancellor of the Northwest University, said, and I quote, "She was committed to the notion that an organization and nation itself is more powerful and useful to its members and society as a result of the contribution made to it by dedicated professional," close quotes. I count the contribution that each of you, through your research, has made to society as inherently powerful and infinitely useful to society. I am delighted that as Nelson Mandela University this year, we are conferring an honorary doctorate on Joel Netshitenzhe, a thought leader extraordinaire. He has contributed immensely, both behind the scenes and in public, to policy and public discourse on economic development, social justice, and nation building. But significantly, his lifelong activism had been relentless in pursuit for a more socially just South African, African, and global society. He exemplifies placing service before self and deploying one's talents to work collectively beyond the self, to co-create solutions to real-world problems. Graduates, your journey to your graduation today has been made possible by the support of your family, your friends, and community. We wish to thank them for the role they have played in your success today. We remember the words of our namesake, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, when he said, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done," close quotes. I congratulate each of you on your achievement. You have made us all so proud. You are changing the world. you will remain in touch with Nelson Mandela University, your alma mater. I thank you.
I believe that I was born for greatness. I would stand and fight for all my dreams. I never thought my journey would be painless, but I found that life is harder than it seems. See, I believe that I had found a family. I believe that it would be forever. It seemed as though I found my perfect fit. I wasn't ready for the storm that came after. Yeah, kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyapilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up. Yeah, yeah, kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyapilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up and take back my power. Inside my veins, power. Inside my heart, power. Inside my veins, power. Ngamandla, ngamandla, oh ngamandla, ngaphakathi kwami. Sajika izinto, you show me your true colors. Kodwa ndenzendibo, I just can't help but wonder if I deserved all of the pain, if all my sweat was all in vain. Will I survive through all the rain to see the sun shining again? All I did, all I gave wasn't enough for when you got greedy. Wafuna yonke into. Told you disappointment, you tried to bury me. I said no sulu vuleka, right now I'm breaking free. Kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyapilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up. Yeah, yeah, kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyapilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up and take back my power. I'm gonna take back my I'm gonna take back my I'm gonna take back my power. Come on, Ngamandla, amibo. Ngamandla, amibo. Ngaphakathi kwami. I'm gonna take back my power. I'm gonna take back my power.
Let's give them a round of applause. Our own choir. Sadly, in the first time in 2 years that we come together, albeit in a hybrid setting, we're unable to see our choir in person. We shall now, honored guests, proceed with the conferring of an honorary doctoral degree. The Governing Council of the University approved the nomination of Joel Katuchelo Nechitenje for the awarding of an honorary doctoral degree by the university. Honored guests, I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Pamela Maseko, to present the honorary doctoral recipient.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting Joel Katuchelo Nechitende for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa, who is receiving this award virtually. Madam Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to read the following commendation in respect of the honorary doctoral recipient. Joel Katuchelo Nechitenze was born in 1956 in Sibasa, Venda, now the Limpopo province. His formal qualifications include a diploma in political science from the Institute of Social Sciences, Moscow in 1984, a postgraduate diploma in economics principles from the University of London, School of Oriental and African Studies in 1996, and a Master of Science degree in financial economics from the same university in 1999. He is currently the Vice Chairperson and Executive Director of the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflections, a transdisciplinary research institute, and is also a visiting professor at the Vet School of Governance. Joel Nechitenze was part of the efforts to dislodge the apartheid system in our country, including as a member of the African National Congress in exile, and was involved in the negotiation processes that led to the democratic elections in 1994. Through his contributions to the processes that led to the transfer of power from the National Party government to the democratically elected ANC government, he was recruited to serve in President Nelson Mandela's office as part of a new cohort of civil servants. Thereafter, he occupied various senior management government positions, with his last assignment heading the groundbreaking policy coordination and advisory services. This mechanism was central to ensuring intergovernmental coordination and integrated policy development and implementation. In this latter role, he was credited for steering the alignment of government planning processes across all spheres of government. After retiring from government work, Joel Nechitenze has continued to be engaged in social, economic, and political issues that are topical in our country. He participates in social projects that are championed by organizations such as the Nelson Mandela Foundation. He also holds various positions in the corporate world and at research institutions. His contribution to the struggle for democracy in South Africa and his subsequent career in government includes serving as head of communication in the presidency of Nelson Mandela in 1994, as Chief Executive Officer of Government Communication and Information Systems from 1998 to 2006, as Head of Policy Coordination and Advisory Services from 2001 to 2009, and as a member of the National Planning Commission from 2010 to 2015. In his work, he has guided policy development and transformation of South Africa along the road of becoming a truly non-racial, non-sexist, unitary, democratic, and prosperous society. His board memberships include the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and the Life Healthcare Group. He's also a member of the National Executive of the ANC. He has been invited to lecture, present conference papers, and act as keynote speaker at various fora, particularly on the topic of developmental state. His articles and scientific contributions in the field of social sciences have contributed to the body of knowledge on topics that include the political administrative interface and have been cited both locally and abroad in various academic journals. During the struggle against apartheid and in his subsequent work of building a nation founded on the principles of the Freedom Front, let me repeat that. During the struggle against apartheid and in his subsequent work of building a nation founded on the principles of the Freedom Charter and the National Constitution, he has managed to bridge the gap between political activists, strategists, and intellectual in ways that a few have been able to master, making it an honor for the Nelson Mandela University to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, honoris causa, in the Faculty of Humanities on Joel Katutelo Nechitenze. Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, honoris causa, on Joel Katutelo Nechitenze.
I confer the degree the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, honoris causa, on Joel Katutelo Nechitenje. We shall now listen to Dr. Joel Katutelo Nechitenje's acceptance speech.
Chairperson of Council, Ambassador Nozipho January Badil, Chancellor Dr. Geraldine Fraser-Muleketi, Vice Chancellor Professor Sibongile Mutwa, Deputy Vice Chancellors and other leaders of Nelson Mandela University, members of the Student Representative Council, all students graduating today, and honorable guests. Thank you for the opportunity briefly to share my thoughts on this auspicious occasion. I do not have the appropriate words to express my appreciation for the honor bestowed on me by the Nelson Mandela University. In my humble opinion, I'm not entirely certain that it is deserved. But in ultimately relenting, I convinced myself that this honorary doctorate is less about the past, but rather an injunction to persist in the efforts to attain a better life for all South Africans and broader humanity. Even in the hallowed chambers of research and intellectual pursuits where I'm currently located, the struggle for social equity essentially has no end. Nelson Mandela University contributes to this effort by constantly striving to become a dynamic African university, a leader in generating cutting-edge knowledge for a sustainable future. In this context, the association with both the symbol of an iconic name and the substance of the university's pursuits confers a profound responsibility. We live today in a global society characterized by immense contradictions. On the one hand, the possibility to extricate billions from poverty has been demonstrated through multifaceted domestic and global efforts. Yet inequality has actually widened in most parts of the world. Natural sciences have advanced in leaps and bounds, making a decent quality of life possible for all. Yet, as underlined in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, the benefits are not equitably shared. And so a number of riddles come to mind on the state of human civilization today. Is it the perfection of social sciences that we are unable to turn around political economies that encourage mind-boggling wealth in the midst of poverty? That the self-indulgence of a billionaire space race captures the global imagination while Mother Earth is smothering in the Anthropocene of global warming? Is it a reflection of human ingenuity that scientific excellence is measured by the power of hypersonic weapons and communication technologies that have, to a significant extent, become instruments of the invasion of privacy and platforms for irrational discourse? Is it self-assurance or a perverse sense of insecurity to fear and loathe those who are different from us? Closer to home, do we have the will and the capacity to ensure mature discourse and action to deal with a concentrated expression of these global trends? In politics, can we contain the bile that threatens the constitutional order and the revered institutions established to protect it? How do we deal with the desperation of cornered fugitives who pursue social disruption and economic harm? Arising from this, 4 interrelated issues stand out as we celebrate this occasion. Firstly, in the pursuit of knowledge, our commitment to the needs of humanity, especially the most marginalized, including women and youth, should be unwavering. Secondly, research, teaching, and communication of knowledge should be informed by transdisciplinarity within and across the sciences. Thirdly, the presence of Nelson Mandela University in these spatial environs should be felt in the local and wider political economy, in state performance, economics, social programs, and other endeavors to improve the human condition. Lastly, in the allocation of research resources and determining academic priorities, the lodestar should always be the interests of all humanity. It is heartening that this university keenly recognizes the link among these imperatives. As we receive these accolades today and venture into the wider world, we, the alumni of Nelson Mandela University, need to continue learning by learning and by doing. To quote the celebrated philosopher and economist Karl Marx, "There is no royal road to science, and only those who do not dread the fatiguing climb of its steep paths have a chance of gaining its luminous summits." I venture these thoughts because I am convinced that the collective intellectual capacity resident in this university is capable doggedly of pursuing answers to complex social and natural mysteries. Thank you once again for the honor.
We shall now, honored guest, proceed with the awarding of qualifications, and I request the candidates present in the hall to take up their positions. I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences, Professor Hendrik Floyd, to present the candidates for the respective qualifications.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the master's degree on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Masters of Arts coursework. Kusile Nukubela. Busiswa Tushamela. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Masters of Arts, Research, Leletu Busa. Zandeli Magwana. Wait. Lindy van Rensburg, cum laude. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Development Studies coursework. Kolo Dungela. Kusi Frimpong. Sibongele Bochanchane. Andonia Makomba. Tapiwe Marombo. Simpiwe Nindiglana. Lakona Kunka. Taba Pule. Ukele Kwaso. Are we too far? Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Masters of Business Administration coursework. Ilia Ajayi, Bridget de Kock, Nalisa Faltain, Olivier Frost, Guguletu Mabuza, Azola Mandingozi, Seve Makwela, Akona Matibeni, Zinhle Mazilini, Pindiwe Matebo, Wisdom Mushawe, sorry. Okay, we're going back to Pindi Madoba. Maduzi Mazwana, Sakumzi Nakai, Sipasis Kosi Nakala, Matthew Quanson, Denzel Reddy, just slowly, slowly. Joseph Sharty, Renee Tierflay, Gareth Valentine, Luis Ziklakwa. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the degree Masters of Commerce coursework, Tuberglek Sika. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Masters of Commerce Research, Maihela Barai. Zianda Bakepu. Andrea Govender. Riyad Ishmael, cum laude. Lindiwe Maru. Kiobaka Majiwa. Andrew Smith. Christy Terrera, cum laude. William Yamile, cum laude. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree of Masters of Commerce in Economics coursework, Aubrey Malabai. Stanley Shulunga. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree of Masters of Philosophy in Development Finance coursework, Vuyani Daimini. Yamkela Kolela. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degree in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences.
To thank Professor Michelle May, the Deputy Dean, who stepped in and presented the qualifications. Thank you, Professor. I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Pamela Maseko, to present the candidates for the respective qualifications during the past year.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the master's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Arts Research, Sandisiwe Bulana. James Thibault Davis, cum laude. Manu Furi. Ongeziwe Sharon Gabe. Mpho Tiny Libelo. Emmanuel Maboke cum laude. Lubabalo Manduluka. Nolwandle Muriel Mini. Siyasanga Pulani Mwanda. Siyasanga Ngwabeni. Then repeat again. Dalton Smith. Lauren Simone Warner. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Conflict Transformation and Management coursework. Zizipho Grootboom. Taina Msiza. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Music Research. Robin Henberry, cum laude. Caroline Natalie Rousseau. Madam Chancellor, a candidate for the degree Master of Philosophy coursework. Daniel Nigel Giapani. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Public Administration coursework. Fundiswa Phillips Maki. Esethu Mtanyana. Zamuxolo Zameko. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degrees in the Faculty of Humanities.
Thank you.
I request the Acting Executive Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Lynn Biggs, to present the candidates for the respective qualifications.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the master's degrees on the candidates who have completed their respective qualifications during the past academic year.
I confer the master's degrees as requested.
Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Laws coursework. Tamara Uester. Neleswa Kakaza. Alec Malumza. Wiseman Nzama. Madam Chancellor, candidates for the degree Master of Laws Research. Cornelia Dutoy. Osipasona Nhanga. Batabile Vilakazi. Molya Vundamina. Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of master's degrees in the Faculty of Law.
Decades of living and you are here, still breathing. Decades of being and you are here, today reaping rewards.
Lump in your throat, heavy-eyed, heart racing. You're nervous, but no longer of the assignment deadlines overdue or tests starting in 5 minutes. The world lies before you, and how daunting that is.
But
You can change the world.
unguqhinebe uguququ uzithonge ezithathu into yathi yakubona ugqirha nojwarha bexhentsa bexhininika bexakekile bexela oqame eludakeni yamisa indlu yathi yimani bobawo asiyiyo lena indlela.
Indeed,
You can change the world.
jy kom van proewe wat daagliks jou rede beproef. Opofferings wat jou sys maak totdat die messelaar steen op steen bou met hoop. Die stille stem wat saggies passies in jou aansteek totdat die beeld van Mandela voor jou verskyn. Jy is die oplossing.
Yet,
You can change the world.
go forth thankfully. Thank those who have come before you, paving the way to your success. This is their day too.
Go forth, resolute. stating claims over your future, not forgetting that those who come after you, that this too is their day.
Go forth celebratory, accepting that all the triumph and the strife was painful, but that too is grace. This is your victory day.
Together, we can change the world.
Very much. Let's give them a round of applause for that poem. I request the acting executive dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Lynn Biggs, to present the candidates for the doctoral degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I have the privilege to present to you candidates for the doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Law. I request Professor Patrick Franken and candidate Nonhlanhla Irene Pindiwe Klazo to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Patrick Franken, the supervisor of the candidates, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Noni Schlazer, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law, with a thesis entitled The Work in Fishing Convention as an Instrument to Combat Forced Labor on Fishing Vessels, a South African Perspective. This study sets to comparatively analyze the Work in Fishing Convention and the Merchant Shipping Act, focusing on the regulation of practices that cause forced labor and the provisions aimed at addressing common threats used to coerce fishers. It concludes that South Africa complies with its obligations in terms of the Convention, except with regard to the duty to regulate recruitment agencies. It is recommended that either the Merchant Shipping Seafarer Recruitment and Placement Regulations be amended to give effect to the Convention, or new regulations applying specifically to fishers be drafted and promulgated in terms of the Act or its successor.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law on Nonhlanhla Irene Pindiwe Klazo.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law on Nonhlanhla Irene Pindiwe Klazo.
I request Professor Joanna Botha and candidate Mark Velgemuth to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Joanna Botha to present the candidate to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the supervisor of the candidate, Professor Dion Erasmus, I present to the congregation Mark Velgemuth, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law, with his thesis entitled Integration of Clinical Legal Education with Procedural Law Modules. His research evaluates the role that clinical legal education, CLE, can and should play in the learning and teaching of procedural law modules, namely civil procedure, criminal procedure, and the law of evidence. It argues that the doctrine of transformative constitutionalism provides a sound theoretical basis for the integration of CLE in the learning and teaching of procedural law modules. Because there is a constitutional imperative on law schools to train law graduates who are ready for entry into legal practice as far as adequate theoretical knowledge and practical skills are concerned. The research demonstrates how the integration of CLE with procedural law modules can improve law graduates' appreciation of the values of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. The research concludes that an integrated teaching and learning methodology for procedural law modules will produce better law graduates for legal practice. The result then is future legal practitioners who can serve the public in a professional, ethical, and accountable manner as envisaged by the Legal Practice Act immediately after graduation from law schools.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law on Mark Velgemuth.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Laws, Public Law on Mark Velgemuth. Congratulations, Doctor.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of qualifications in the Faculty of Law.
I request the acting, or rather the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences, Professor Michelle May, to present the candidates for the doctoral degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I have the privilege to present to you the candidates for doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences. I request Professor Margaret Cullen and candidate Sasha Boucher to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Margaret Cullen, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Sasha Marilyn Boucher, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, with her thesis entitled An Entrepreneurial Ecosystem Framework for Nelson Mandela Bay. The factors influencing Nelson Mandela Bay's entrepreneurial ecosystem were examined through multiple perspectives. The results highlighted the unique structure and complex interactions in Nelson Mandela Bay based on the findings. Based on the findings, an entrepreneurial ecosystem framework was developed. The results indicated that more reflexivity, collective action, and cross-sector coordination were required, while considering the Metro's unique infrastructure, knowledge, and capabilities. This critical inquiry contributes to an under-theorized area which lacks data on a subnational level. It suggests that leadership would be well advised to make strategic investments which acknowledge the local context and social embeddedness of entrepreneurship, thereby matching capital with opportunity.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Marilyn Boucher. Sasha Marilyn Boucher.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Sasha Marilyn Boucher. Congratulations.
I request Professor Kurt Pieterse and candidate Ryan Katz to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Kurt Pieterse, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Ryan Justin Katz, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, with his thesis entitled An Analysis of the Impact of Uniquely African Traditional Leadership Principles on the Sustainability of Lean Manufacturing Implementation within the local manufacturing industry. This doctoral study aimed to analyze the impact that uniquely African traditional leadership principles, let's call it UATLP, has on the sustainability of lean manufacturing implementation within the South African industry. By means of self-constructed questionnaires and interviews, the researcher obtained information on the extent to which the 5 UATLP and 7 principles that display successful lean implementation are present within organizations. The research revealed that lean manufacturing has been successfully implemented within various organizations in South Africa, and that UATLP were more prevalent in organizations that have implemented LM as opposed to other organizations. This indicates that this UATLP has a positive impact on the sustainability of lean manufacturing implementation within the local manufacturing industry.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Ryan Katz.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Ryan Justin Katz. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Kurt Pieterse to present the next candidate, please.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Farai Matanire, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Business Administration with his thesis entitled A Corporate Strategy Framework to Increase Financial Performance in Zimbabwean Firms. The conundrum of heterogeneous firm financial performance and the impact of corporate strategy frameworks on financial performance was investigated. The primary research objective of the study was to establish a corporate strategy framework used by Zimbabwean firms to increase their financial performance. A mixed data design was used. Regression models were used to analyze data. The data analysis model showed that the resource-based strategy framework was a significant driver of financial performance for Zimbabwe Stock Exchange listed companies.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Farai Matiri.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Farai Matanire.
I request Professor Margaret Cullen and candidate Pumla Mahike to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Margaret Cullen from the Graduate School of Business to present her to the congregation on behalf of her supervisor.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Professor van der Merwe, I present to the congregation Pumla Kamisa Myeki, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Business Administration, with her thesis entitled Possible Futures for South Africa's Transition to a Low-Carbon Economy towards 2050. One of the major challenges associated with climate change is that its impacts are likely to surface over a medium to long-term period, with high uncertainty about the extent and the precise timing of manifestation. The research study therefore intended to allow for an inclusive intra- and interdisciplinary understanding of risk, uncertainty, drivers, trends, and essential philosophies connected to and inherent in the planned economic transformation as a response to climate change. The intention was to construct plausible and desirable narratives of the low-carbon economic future for South Africa, underpinned by the legacy of the Constitution, Act 108 of 1996, and the National Development Plan. The study described 4 possible futures, being Sesfikile, Stimela, Inkwanyawa, and Siaya Pambile. Sesfikile, and as the desired future state, forms the basis for the development of an integrated vision of an inclusive, competitive, climate resilient and low carbon economy for South Africa by 2050.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Pumla Mahike.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Business Administration on Pumla Kamisa Myeki. Congratulations, Doctor. Thank you.
I request Professor Lewa Jackie to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Jackie, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Sondwayo Banda in absentia, is watching virtually, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Finance, with his title of the thesis, The Impact of Public-Private Partnerships, Triple Ps, on Zambia's economic growth and economic development. With limited financial resources, national governments such as Zambia now turn to private sector to collaborate in financing development. The research results suggest that the Triple Ps play an important role in improving economic growth and economic development. The study of Banda strongly recommends the scaling up of investments in the Triple Ps. This entails amending the Triple P Act as well as developing and disseminating Triple P policy guidelines to enhance the success of the Triple Ps in Zambia. Increased investments in the Triple Ps will require the provision of further training to the Triple P personnel to improve their regulatory and technical capacity in the design, development, and the implementation of the Triple Ps.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Finance on Sondwayo Banda.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Finance on Sondwayo Banda.
I request Professor Rolf van Niekerk to come forward, please. He crept up on me. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor van Niekerk, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Melody Knight, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Industrial Psychology, with her thesis entitled Emotional Intelligence as a Strategy to Enhance Leadership. The study described how nursing managers use their emotional intelligence in challenging situations to identify interventions that could enhance their leadership. The findings showed that emotional intelligence is essentially related to work engagement, burnout, turnover intention, work satisfaction, communication, interpersonal relationships, and job performance. The recommendations showed that whilst it is necessary to enhance emotional intelligence, it is fundamental that the organization creates an emotionally intelligent work environment by showing support, evaluate the efficacy of its policies, show empathetic understanding, and implement strategies to manage a dynamic workforce in a complex environment.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Philosophy, Industrial Psychology on Melody Knight.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Industrial Psychology on Melody Knight.
I request Professor Shirley Farrington and candidate Welcome Kumpanga to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Shirley Farrington, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Welcome Kupangwa, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management with his thesis entitled A Framework for Transmitting and Entrenching Values in Indigenous Black South African Family Businesses. The purpose of the study was to provide a framework for explaining how values are transmitted among Indigenous Black South African business-owning families and how these values are entrenched into their family businesses. Using a descriptive, multiple case study strategy, the study found that values play an important role in these families and in their family businesses. The values upheld are greatly influenced and shaped by their African culture, which is premised on the philosophy of Ubuntu. The nuclear and extended family members play a significant role in the transmission of values to the next generation of family members, using mechanisms such as family communication, family business involvement, storytelling, and family routines. Founders and/or leaders were found to play a significant role in entrenching values into their family businesses, and these values influence and shape business functions and processes. The proposed framework contributes to a successful transmission of values across generations in Indigenous Black South African business-owning families and the successful entrenchment thereof into their family businesses, ultimately leading to sustainable South African family businesses built on values that last. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Welcome Kupangwa.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Welcome Kupangwa. Congratulations, Doctor. I request Dr. Shirisha Pillay to come forward, please.
Madam Chancellor, I request that Dr. Pillay, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Martin Kiamanua, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Studies, with his thesis entitled The East African Political Federation Dream, Exploring the Missing Links. The study explores the missing links on the journey to the dream of the East African Political Federation. It draws insights from theoretical perspectives such as neo-functionalism, federalism, and intergovernmentalism. The study employs a qualitative approach. Key findings indicate that the East African community established several multi-pronged measures to foster integration. However, the journey remains constrained by several factors, including an apparent lack of commitment, limited funding, lack of popular participation, mistrust among political leaders, and an unwillingness on the part of partner states to cede sovereignty. The latter complication is the main missing link, because all other challenges are linked to it. Addressing this challenge successfully will engender trust among leaders, and the federation will more likely occur. However, its sustainability will depend on the extent of the ideational factors and the extent to which the institutional design is democratically acceptable. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Studies on Martin Kiamanua.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Studies on Martin Kiamanua.
I request Professor Amanda Werner and candidate Wayne McPherson to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Amanda Werner, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Michelle May and I present to the congregation Wayne Elvison McPherson, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management, with his thesis entitled Emerging Job Categories and Competencies Informing Talent Strategies for Industry 4.0 Automotive organizations. The study explored emerging job categories and competencies in Industry 4.0 automotive organizations in South Africa to inform appropriate talent strategies. The research included analyzing job advertisements, interviewing human resources, engineering and operational experts, and conducting a survey. A hybrid of technical, conceptual, human, and personal skills required in the context of Industry 4.0 were extracted. Strategies for recruiting, developing, and retaining talent were identified. Organizations in the automotive sector should collaboratively develop and implement a talent management framework to ensure the availability of a talent pool to address Industry 4.0 demands.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management on Wayne McPherson.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management on Wayne Alverson McPherson. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Ronnie Nakwade and Zanafinile Nemushwanga to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Ronnie Nakwade, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and Professor Mishi, the co-promoter of the candidate, I present to the congregation as Ifaneli Innocentia Nemushungwa, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Economics, with a thesis entitled Symmetric and Asymmetric Gas Models in Forecasting Exchange Rate in South Africa. The study compares the forecasting performance of both symmetric and asymmetric general autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity models, using both traditional and new techniques, which are robust to instabilities to forecast the South African exchange rates. The Rossi-Shakopsian focus rationality tests results reveal that the exponential general autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity model under general error distribution and asymmetric power autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity and normal error distribution show the strongest evidence against forecast rationality, which appears to be around 2009 for all the models, thus clearly supporting the idea that in the presence of instabilities, the fluctuation tests are more powerful than traditional tests.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Economics on Azimvanile Nemushwanga.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Economics on Azwafanile Innocentia Nemushungwa. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Ronnie Nakwade to present the next candidate, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Ronnie Nakwade, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Oliver Nyaoke Nasensia, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Economics, with a thesis entitled The Impact of Exchange Rate on Trade Balances in SADC Countries. The purpose of the study was to determine the impact of exchange rates on trade balances in SADC countries. The study tested the existence of the JK phenomena in SADC trade balances using panel GMM model and quintile regressions. The results show that South Africa has a delayed J-curve. The study shows an inverted J-curve, whilst DRC and Botswana shows a sharp V shape, contrary to the J-curve phenomenon. As explained by classical economic theories, the findings of the study suggest that there is no room for improving trade balances through a currency devaluation process in the case of Namibia, Mozambique, Angola, Malawi, and Madagascar.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Economics on Olivia Nawokwe.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Economics on Olivia Nyahokwe.
I request Professor Patrick Franklin and the candidate Denai Joanne Tambo to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request that Professor Patrick Franken, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation candidate Danai Tambo, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Development Studies, with a thesis entitled Sustainable Strategies for Improved Implementation of South Africa's Marine Living Resource Legislation. This thesis investigates the failures in the implementation of marine living resources legislation in South Africa. South Africa's marine living resources legislation reflects the main principles of fisheries management that are encouraged by the international legal order. However, implementation of the legislation continues to be a challenge. Although acknowledged by the government, little work has been done to remedy the problem. Understanding that the implementation of statutes involves various actors, the study investigates implementation failures by explaining the behaviors of these actors, as they are directly and indirectly influenced by factors underpinned by implementation, communication, power, and governance theories. Findings show a direct correlation between the identified factors, the behaviors of the various actors, and the implementation outcomes. The recommendations made in the study hold practical implications for implementation efforts going forward, recognizing that acting to correct these failures will be critical to ensure South Africa does not continue its current trajectory of marine living resource depletion.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Studies on Danai Joanne Temba.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Development Studies on Danai Joanne Tembo. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Dr. Felix Samoa and candidate Patrick Turkson to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Amoa, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Patrick Joel Texan, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Marketing, with his thesis entitled Customer Experience Value, Satisfaction, and Behavioral Intentions within Selected Shopping Malls in Ghana. The study investigated the factors that influence customers' experience value, as well as how experience value influences customer satisfaction and behavioral intentions within selected malls in Ghana. The findings of the study show that service encounter, experience realms, hedonic value, and utilitarian value significantly influence customer experience value. Furthermore, the results of the study indicated that experience value significantly influences customer satisfaction and behavioral intentions in the context of shopping malls. This study recommends a model that could potentially assist shopping mall managers in Ghana to enhance the services that they offer to their customers.
Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Marketing on Patrick Joel Turkson.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Marketing on Patrick Joel Turkson. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Dr. Chantal Harris and candidate Gillian Turner to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Chantal Harris, the supervisor of the candidate, to present her to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Gillian Turner, a candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management, with her thesis entitled The Relationship Between Authentic Leadership, Psychological Capital, Work Engagement, and Safety Behavior in a Construction Environment. The study investigated the relationship between authentic leadership, psychological capital, work engagement, and employee safety behavior. It developed a theoretical model comprising of all four constructs. The study links contemporary leadership theory, psychological constructs, and associated outcomes distinctively to the South African construction industry, that is, work engagement and safety behavior. Convenience sampling was employed to recruit full-time employed workers across hierarchical levels, ranging from blue-collar workers to white-collar workers in the construction industry. It was found that authentic leaders influence the degree to which employees engage in safe workplace behaviors through the presence of psychological capital and work engagement. The primary contribution of this study lies in acknowledging the existence of such a relationship to lay the necessary theoretical and empirical groundwork that may advance knowledge about how workplace safety is influenced by authentic leadership, PsyCap, and work engagement in the South African construction industry.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resources Management on Gillian Turner.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Human Resource Management on Gillian Turner. Congratulations.
I request Professor Janine Kruger and candidate Gabriel Tuamasi to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Janine Kruger, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Omoa and I present to the congregation Gabriel Kwatwo Tuamase, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management, with his thesis entitled Inbound Tourist Experience in South Africa. Tourism contributes significantly to economic growth. Therefore, tourist experience is seen as a strategy for building relationships between tourism businesses and clients. The study focused on whether the factors influencing the inbound tourist experience in South Africa have an influence on customer satisfaction, recommendation of destination, and likelihood of a return visit. The main empirical results showed statistically significant relationships between quality of accommodation, tidiness of attractions, auxiliary services, safety of destination, convenience retention, quality of attractions, transportation, and both customer satisfaction and recommendation and revisiting of destination. Therefore, the factors identified are of strategic importance in promoting tourism destinations. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Gabriel Tumasi.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Gabriel Kwadwo Tumasi. Congratulations, Doctor.
I request Professor Almery Venter and candidate Conrad van Greening to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Almery Venter, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, VC, colleagues, parents, I present to the congregation Dr. Conrad van Greening, a candidate for his second degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Business Management, with his thesis titled Team-Related Factors Influencing Intra-Team Knowledge Sharing in Knowledge-Intensive Businesses. He's the first second double doctorate in the School of Management Sciences, and while his first doctorate focused on personality factors and individual factors, the purpose of his second doctorate was to identify and empirically examine selected team-related factors influencing the intra-team knowledge-sharing behavior of individual members participating in knowledge-intensive teams of knowledge-intensive businesses. What was very interesting is the empirical results has confirmed that team psychological safety, team development competition, cultural intelligence, and age have a significant influence on intra-team knowledge-sharing behavior. Besides the theoretical contribution, his study makes several practical recommendations to knowledge-intensive businesses and tertiary institutions on how to manage the team-related factors influencing the intra-team knowledge-sharing behavior of individual members participating in knowledge-intensive teams. These recommendations could possibly enhance the competitive advantage of knowledge-intensive businesses.
I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Conrad van Greening.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Business Management on Conrad van Greening. Congratulations, Doctor.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of the qualifications in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences.
Thank you. I request the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Pamela Maseko, to present the candidates for the doctoral degrees.
Madam Chancellor, I have the privilege to present to you candidates for the doctoral degrees in the Faculty of Humanities. I request Professor Alethea de Villiers to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Alethea de Villiers, the co-supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Supervisor, Professor Michael Blake, I present to the congregation Musa Duke Nkuna, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Music, with his thesis entitled Bicultural Voice in 3 Works. This portfolio of compositions comprises 3 works: Requiem of Hope and Forgiveness, scored for soloists, chorus and orchestra, a song cycle, La Vie, l'Amour et la Mort, on poems by Jean-Claude Bliss, and the cello sonata, opus 1, number 1, opus 33, the Sunset Sonata, for cello and piano. The most prominent compositional technique of this portfolio is the combination of Western music genres and languages with traditional African composition techniques and idioms of traditional music to achieve a syncretic musical style. The accompanying commentary and analyses explore the way the candidate has applied these compositional techniques and serve as a guide to the listener and enthusiast.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Music on Musa Duke Nkuna.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Music on Musa Duke Nkuna.
I request Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast from the Faculty of Humanities to present him to the congregation on behalf of the supervisor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Rogers Paringwanya, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Political Studies, with his thesis entitled Obstacles to the Creation of an African Criminal Court. The study set out to investigate the possible obstacles to the creation of an African Criminal Court, ACC. It found that the creation of the ACC is largely inhabited by the wide jurisdiction, impunity of Africa's heads of state, limited financial base, contradictions, and ambiguities. regarding how an ACC should operate and a lack of political will for the success of the ACC and the neo-patrimonial nature of post-independence of African presidents. This study contributes to the existing knowledge by recommending key strategies that should be adopted by the African Union to mitigate the obstacles for the creation of the ACC.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Political Studies on Rogers Barigayomwe.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Political Science on Rogers Barigayomwe.
I request Professor Gavin Bradshaw and candidate Siabulela Mandela to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Gavin Bradshaw, the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to the congregation Siabulela Mandela, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management, with his thesis entitled Preventive Diplomacy and Conflict Prevention in Africa, an examination of South Africa's role in conflict resolution in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At the center of this study is the advancement of preventative diplomacy and conflict prevention as a hybrid framework for the prevention and resolution of violent conflict and the promotion of sustainable peace and development in Africa. The study adopted John Burton's basic human needs theory as a theoretical framework to further highlight the urgency of African states in prioritizing policies and conflict resolution efforts directed at addressing the underlying issues giving rise to violent conflicts, if sustainable peace and development is to be realized in the continent. Thank you.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Siabulela Mandela.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Conflict Management on Siabulela Mandela. Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you.
I request Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast and candidate Pedro Mihlali Mzileni to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast, the head of the department, to present the candidate to the congregation on behalf of the supervisor.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Pedro Mihlali Mzileni, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Sociology, with his thesis entitled Post-Apartheid Geographies, Studentification in Nelson Mandela University, Port Elizabeth, South Africa. The study examines the case of studentification in Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha, where the Nelson Mandela University is situated. Henry Ferry's production of space theory is utilized to frame it. Gqeberha has 4 geographies of studentification: Summerstrand, Central, North End, and Zwide. They are an outcome of an apartheid special planning and post-apartheid urban neoliberal economic design. Key defining features of studentification in each of these 4 areas were identified and analyzed to illustrate that the South African account of studentification resembles the city's apartheid legacy. These untransformed urban structures get further compounded by the country's underfunded higher education massification strategy, its declining economic indicators, and a weak state that is unable to decisively impact the trajectory of socio-economic development in this university city. These intersecting forces translate into precarious day-to-day student life experience and structural complications for the governance of the university and the city, and socio-economic misfortunes that arise from this handicap the potential of the city to renew through a studentification economy. Based on these, this study extends the existing languages and theoretical terms used to comprehend the concept of studentification by introducing how this phenomenon emerges from the context of this post-apartheid African city.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology on Pedro Mihlali Mzileni.
You can come closer. Yes. I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy Sociology on Pedro Mihlali Mzileni. Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you.
I request Professor Sebenzile Masango and candidate Johannes Chetani Zandile Zan Sokopo to come forward, please. Madam Chancellor, I request Professor Sebenzile Masango the supervisor of the candidate, to present him to the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I present to the congregation Johannes Chetani Zandile Zan Sokopo, a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration, with his thesis entitled Demarcation of Municipalities and Service Delivery Capacity, a case of selected Eastern Cape municipalities. The study investigated the effect of redetermination of municipal boundaries and the amalgamation of local municipalities on the capacity of municipalities to deliver basic services, with specific reference to the Dr. Bears Notier local municipality, which was established in 2016, the context and the state of service delivery prior, during, and in the post-establishment phases of the Dr. Bears Notier local municipality within the period 2012 to 2020 have been assessed and analyzed. Participants in this qualitative study included community members, municipal officials, and councillors of the Dr. Bears Notier local municipality. The study found that, on average, the infrastructure for service delivery inherited by the Dr. Bears Notier local municipality is of higher standard when compared to that of other local municipalities in South Africa. There was a mixed reaction regarding the level of participation in the demarcation process, a scenario which calls for the enhancement of public participation within such processes in the future. Furthermore, there is no direct relationship between the size of the municipality and its capacity to deliver services. There was no improvement in service delivery capacity due to the establishment of the Dr. Bears Notier local municipalities. The study recommends proper feasibility study prior to any amalgamation of municipalities.
Madam Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration on Johannes Chetani Zandile Zan Sokopo.
I confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration on Johannes Chetani Zandile Khan Sokopa. Congratulations, Doctor.
Madam Chancellor, this concludes the conferring of qualifications in the Faculty of Humanities.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the proceedings. On behalf of the congregation, I wish to thank our graduates, parents, and other guests for their interest in the university and for their presence at this graduation. I'd also want to thank those who have followed us virtually. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our academic and administrative staff, as well as the performers for their respective contributions. We don't take for granted the complexity of 2021, and hence a special thank you to faculty, students, administrative staff, and everyone else involved. By virtue of the powers vested in me as Chancellor of the university, I declare this congregation dissolved. I request the congregation to stand up for the singing of the national anthem and to remain standing while the academic procession leaves the hall.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika, maluphakanyiswa uphondo lwayo, izwa imithandazo yethu. Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo, murena buluka sitjhaba sa Yesu, ufedise dintwa le matshwenyeho. Sibuluke sitjhaba sa Yesu, sitjhaba sa South Africa, South Africa. Die blauw van ons hemel, die diepte van ons Heer, waar ons weggebegd is, waar die